Show. I'm Laura, and this week on the show, I'm sharing a behind the scenes look at my life and business from July to September. So I'm looking at like Q3. So this year on the show, I've been sharing a behind the scenes breakdown of what I've been doing in the business, what my income's been like, what I've had going on personally, and just all of that stuff. So that, first of all, it's really helpful for me to share all of this stuff. It's really useful for me to go through the process of recounting what I've had going on. And it's also, I hope, useful for you guys just to hear the inner workings of what all this stuff looks like. And hopefully it is just useful in some way, kind of hearing me talk this through with any luck. And hopefully some of the lessons that I learn as well, I really enjoy sharing them because, again, hopefully they're helpful as well. So it's been a funny old quarter. I always find this part of the year really weird because I love September and I love that fresh start at the start of the month, and having like as a quarter that links in with July and August just really doesn't sit right in my brain because that's the summer, and it's, especially with me having kids, it's a very specific, like particular time, with it being the 6 weeks holidays here in the UK. It always just is a bit of a weird quarter anyway, but it's been a really interesting one. So I think I was reflecting when I was like writing some notes for this episode of the show, and just thinking, I think out of any year that I've been in business, this is probably the one where I've really, and I've talked about this a few times, like very consciously took my foot off the pedal quite a lot. And very much reflected in this quarter that I'm going to be talking about, because July and August were mostly like the 6 weeks summer holidays, and I really reduced how much work I did basically. So in July, the main thing that I did in July, I didn't have anything major going on, but one of the things that I did do is I changed my Instagram grid to an evergreen Instagram funnel. So if you want to check out more about that, you can obviously go over to my Instagram and have a look. I'm at Wholeheartedly Laura, or check out the episode of the show where I talk about that whole strategy. So I changed my grid over to that, and honestly, I've not looked back at all. In my head, I was doing it over the summer because I knew I wouldn't have time to post a lot of stuff on Instagram, and I basically created that and said to myself, I'll review it in September. And honestly, like, if anything, I don't really want to change it. Instagram's not, it is a place where I enjoy being visible, and I've got some lessons learned to come up for Instagram towards the end of the show, but it's really not where I want to be spending the majority of my time. It really isn't. The return on investment just isn't there for Instagram anymore for me. So having that evergreen like grid funnel thing going on is amazing. It's just really good. So that was like the main thing that happened in July. And then personally, again, like my kids, because my daughter's on a term time only nursery contract, so her nursery ends as well, although I kept her in for a couple of days a week. But basically I was working around about 1 to 2 days a week over the 6 weeks holidays, including like having a full week off as well. So I really reduced down how much I was doing, and what really helps me do that, what really helps me pull back, and one of the things I did realise as well, because I think I'd had this picture in my mind of wanting to take the full 6 weeks off. I don't necessarily want to do that anymore. It's not a goal for me to do that anymore, because it's not, I think one of the things is I would just get bored, in all honesty. Like, I love my children and I love doing fun things, but I think I would just get bored, and just, that was a good balance I think that I had over the 6 weeks this year, like really cutting down the days that I was doing in terms of like how many hours and that and work I was doing, but still keeping things ticking over and still keeping in the business and things like that. I think just realising that if I took the entire time off, I think I would not actually enjoy that so much. And I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I think it's just, again, my business has always been very much a personal creative outlet for me, and it's not something that I feel I need to get away from in that particular way. So definitely reducing hours, definitely taking a week off at least for like an actual proper holiday, but maybe not so much like taking the entire time off. But that was July, so not a lot happened in July. My income in July was £3,562, which is like pretty much average for me. I think my average monthly income is around about 3.5 to 5k a month. I did have a bumper, I think I had like pretty much a 10k month, didn't I think in March. So I do have much bigger months, but generally speaking, that's about average for me, and that is fine. I'm quite happy with that, especially given the amount of input I'm giving into my business at the moment. Obviously, my clients are my absolute number one priority, so I'm always serving them and I'm always making sure that I'm getting stuff done for them. But otherwise, stuff is ticking over, and that is absolutely fine. Or it certainly was ticking over in the summer. And then in August, that again was a really quiet month. It was full on summer holidays. I took a week off. I turned 40, which I talked about. I had a really lovely, just a fantastic, like, couple of weeks around my 40th birthday, because Finley has his birthday, my son, he turned 8. And then my mum, she has her birthday as well. It was just a really lovely few weeks, and it was just fab, and I really enjoyed it. I had a fantastic night out with my friends. I did stuff on the day, and it was just really like exactly how I would have wanted to spend it. So that was really fantastic. And then otherwise, like business-wise, again, things were really quiet. I did participate in a summit, which was called the On Camera Confidence Retreat. That was really good fun. I don't think I noticed a massive uptake in terms of the benefits of being in that and my email list and things like that. And I basically took a few learnings from seeing how that retreat was run. But I really loved the whole concept of it. I really loved the thing around like being confident on camera and stuff. And I actually had someone email and say, you just know what it is that we need, because I know that this is something that is helpful for some of you guys. So I really enjoy being part of that. But like I say, it's not every summit that you go into is going to double your list or whatever, but it was a good fun summit to be part of. And that was in August. Again, a bit of a funny time doing something like that in August, I think. I know it's different in certain countries in terms of when kids go back to school and when things start to pick up again, but obviously here in the UK it's usually the first week of September before anything starts picking up. But at least that's my concept of it, I think, because of what I've got going on personally with my kids, but that might not be the reality for everyone. So it's something always to bear in mind. But yeah, I did that retreat and that was really good fun. And in August, I signed a couple of new clients. My income in August was £4,626. So that was really awesome as well. Really happy with that. And then going into September. So I don't know, it's like September was good. It just felt... I don't know, it just felt a little bit of a sticky month. And I don't know whether or not this is because we had some major economic stuff happening. For me personally, it just went by in a whirlwind. It just was just a slightly odd month. I can't quite put my finger on what it was. I think things just felt, maybe it was just Mercury fucking retrograde messing with us. I always wonder, because sometimes, like, it'd be really interesting if September was like a bit of an odd month for you. Let me know, because often when I say this to like clients, I'll share it with friends and stuff, and they're like, yeah, it was a bit weird. And then often it's like there's some kind of astrological thing has been going on that's impacted it in some way. I don't know, but I'm going to blame Mercury retrograde. But September just felt like a slightly sticky month. I feel like it was a combination of the economic situation and just like how that felt. I suppose for me, I did have a bit of a business wobble, I think, around everything that was going on, because all we were hearing was a lot of doom and gloom about the economy, and rightly so, because there were some really bad things happening. But I really felt that affected my energy and stuff like that as well, and how I was showing up for myself and around the business and things like that. And actually, I'm planning on doing an episode of the show talking about this, because it's come up a few times in conversations that I've had with people, with clients, around how to manage your energy around situations like this, and also like very practical things as well. But I definitely felt like energetically, I just found it like a sticky kind of month, just a bit of a weird month. So September was basically, I shared a new workshop. So I did the Aligned Client Attraction and Marketing workshop. I really enjoyed creating that, really enjoyed delivering it. I had quite a few people turn up live, which was awesome. I'm never sure how many people are going to turn up live. I had 90 people sign up for it, which was great. And that was basically leading people in towards Wholehearted Business, which is my 6-month program. So I have made some changes to Wholehearted Business. I've made it slightly more structured. It was a very loosely structured program, and I've made it a little bit more structured so people can access that structure if they need it. So that's been really good fun, just creating some new resources and stuff and just restructuring that program a little bit. And it's been really good talking about it. So I would call it a mini launch. I think you guys might remember, I think I mentioned that I didn't really want to do big launches anymore. I just didn't find that they were particularly fun, and like it just wasn't where I'm at. And I think again this year it's very much been a reflection of where I've been at with stuff. But I did a mini launch for this. So I did the workshop, the free workshop, and then like I say on the back of that I was talking about Wholehearted Business. And I had one person join like outside of any of that promotion. So someone contacted me completely separate to that and wanted to sign up, and that was awesome. And then as a result of that, I've basically got 4 discovery calls booked in this week coming to talk about whether or not Wholehearted Business is right, or whether other things that I offer are right as well. So I think it's been an interesting one because, again, I feel like with Wholehearted Business, it needs to meet people at that point where they're at and they're ready for it. So I'm working on creating an evergreen funnel for that program so that when people opt in for something, they get introduced to the program that way, and it's a little bit more instantaneous when you come into my world that this is my main thing that you can join, and that it's awesome because it is. But I was happy with this. I was really happy that someone joined the program completely outside of the promotion, because that's really what I want people to be doing, is to be joining it outside of all of that stuff. And then I really enjoyed creating the workshop because my intentions were always to make that into some kind of like free masterclass that people can download and access as well. So I enjoyed doing and creating that. And I'm really looking forward to chatting to these people this week about the ways that I can support them, whether it's in that program or some other way as well. So it's been fine. And again, I don't go into these things without any expectations in terms of what's going to come out of it. So I'm really happy with how it all went, basically. But like I say, I feel like there's just been a weird thing going on in September, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just feels like it's just been a kind of slightly weird-ish, offish month. I'm trying to think of anything else that I did in September. Oh yes, I did do something else as well. We got all organised to run a retreat in 2023. So I've run several retreats in my career as a coach, and most recently I've been running them with Jo, who some of you guys who listen to the show will remember from an episode that I did a few weeks ago. It was quite a long one, but me and Jo talked about a lot of stuff in that episode. And we're running a retreat together. So we've ran 2 retreats together so far. This is going to be our 3rd one. And they're mainly focused on yoga. I do some wellbeing workshops. I step back into my role as a health coach and do some wellbeing workshops. If you were coming along in your capacity as a business, we could absolutely squeeze in some business stuff as well. But the tickets for that have gone on sale and they've been flying out. We've obviously got a certain capacity, so if that sounds like something that you want to do. And I think the price is really quite reasonable as well for what we've tried to keep the price as minimum as possible, given what we're being charged by the hotel and everything basically. But it's going to be, if you just need like a weekend of relaxation and just taking a step out of everything that you've got going on, it would be so lovely. So do come along. They're fantastic. It's Slaley Hall, which is in Northumberland, so not too difficult to access, whether you're coming from Scotland or further down south. You can get up here. It's just a really wonderful, such a lovely thing to give yourself. I think, and that time out is just really important. So that's mainly been September. And like I say, personally, I had just getting kids back to school, that kind of thing, getting back into the whole swing of that. I got a new car. Randomly got a new car. I have a car that's on a certain kind of contract, and every 3 years basically I go and get a new one, and I pay my money out each month and I get my lovely car, and I'm really happy. So I had a lovely car. And actually, when I think about it, there were some days in September that I felt like, no, everything was, I was saying that September felt like a bit of a sticky month. There were some days actually in September that were really good, like some weeks that were really fab. And I could just, that day when I got the car and I went for afternoon tea with my mum, and that was like a real highlight of the month. I can really remember that being such a lovely day. So actually I'm probably being a bit harsh on September because that was a really lovely day. And I think I had a call with a client that day as well. And it was just all really lovely. So that was fabulous. And anything else in September? I'm trying to think. Oh, I went away for a girls' night. So I don't know if I mentioned this before actually, but me and my group of girlfriends last year, we started this thing where we go away together twice a year, and we go away and stay somewhere. We don't go like far away, we stay fairly local, but we have a night away or a couple of nights away, and we all put some money into a pot and then we get stuff booked up. And we went to Beamish Hall, which is again somewhere local, like a local hotel, and they've got an apartment at the very top of the hotel with a big kitchen diner and a big lounge and fabulous bedrooms, and you get like nibbles and cocktails on arrival, and then you have your evening meal, and then you have breakfast and stuff in the morning. And we did that, but at the very end of the month we did that, and it was so fantastic. Just having that little break out of life and just having that bit of relaxation always is just works magic. So that was amazing. I have that as well. And then going into other stuff, so I always tend to share my email list numbers as well. So I think, I did check it, I don't think I wrote it down, but I think I'm on 3,075 or 45 or something like that. It's grown a little bit since last quarter, not massively, but given that I have a healthy number of unsubscribes every time I email out, and particularly over like whenever you do a more anything that's more launchy, you'll get more unsubscribes. So given that I probably lose about 20 subscribers a week, maybe, that's probably a bit high. Maybe it's about 10 subscribers a week I probably lose on average with unsubscribes. And that's part and parcel of business. It's nothing to worry about. I've still seen a little bit of growth, which considering that it's been over that period of time when I haven't been doing a lot, I'm quite happy with that. So it is something that I need to refocus on in a big way. As I've spoken about before, I think this is a lesson learned thing as well, is that I think my thing where I'm at in business right now is I need to get in front of more people basically, and I need to reach more people, and that's I think where I'm at with things, and that's really where the growth for me to grow my income and things like that. I'm really confident in the offers that I've got, very confident in what I do. I get really good results for people. I've got fantastic testimonials. I know what I do is working. I just need to get in front of more people to increase sales, and that's really where my business is at. And I think just like really embedding that, and this is the thing for me as well, is that I'm one of these people who can very easily spend lots of time faffing on creating a new program or creating a new course or doing this thing or doing that thing. And honestly, really where I need to put my effort and my focus is on getting in front of new people and essentially growing my email list and growing my community online. And I did mention this year that I wanted to run a summit. That has never happened. I mean, there's been lots of practical reasons why it hasn't happened. And running a summit is a massive amount of work. My client Alex, I'll add a link, she runs a summit twice a year, and I'd see how much work she puts into them. Certainly the first one, and hers are massively successful. She runs an amazing summit twice a year, but they are a lot of hard work, and I think that's been an aspect as well. But yeah, I think there's definitely an issue for me, and I'm sharing this because again, hopefully like this is helpful in perhaps triggering something off for you guys. So one of the kind of things that comes up for me around my confidence and stuff like that is basically not feeling like one of the in girls. I think I might have spoken about this before, but it's just one of those things from being at school that ever since I've been young, it's always been a thing. It's like, I don't want to feel like I'm being left out. I don't feel like I'm one of the cool girls. Things can feel very cliquey to me. One of the things where I've really struggled with Instagram is feeling like it's quite cliquey and just feeling like there's no way I'm good enough to be in with that group of people. And again, like who that group of people is, just whatever reason in my brain becomes this thing. And it's really helpful just, first of all, for me, just recognizing that as a thing that I have got going on. It's like a program that I have running in the background and that it's there. That's first of all really, really helpful. But it is one of those things, and I do feel like it's stopping me moving forward. Like it's a very clear thing that I need to probably do some work on, do something with to try and help shift that a little bit as well. But like I said, that's a big lesson that's definitely come up for me recently, and I feel that's quite a clear block as to why there's certain things that I do hold myself back from as well. And again, I feel like we've all got these things that perhaps if something's triggered off in childhood that we bring with us into adulthood, and recognizing what those things are can just be so helpful in noticing the patterns that you might have in terms of your behaviour, in terms of the way that you show up, especially in your business, because it does, being in business triggers so many of these things off. Like I say, Instagram really used to, and does sometimes not as much anymore, but really used to trigger this thing off in me quite significantly. And summits is one of those things as well. And it's just one of those things, and I think I just need to get my head around like, how do I step out of this and how do I actually start taking some action around this? But to be able to do that, you need to have the headspace, the bandwidth to be able to do it. And I think that's where I've been at a little bit recently, is I haven't necessarily had the headspace to be able to really tackle this head on. So I need to find how to do that. And also all in the background as well, like a bit of a life update, all in the background of all of this, the stuff that is going on, like our renovations in the house are still ongoing. So we had a leak in the new office. A couple of weeks ago we had a leak, which was quite easily fixed, but it was a bit stressful. Our radiators aren't working yet in the new bit that needs sorting out. And there's just like a few draggy on tasks. And then we've also got so I've been decorating the kitchen. That was another thing that's been going on, like in the background as well, as I decorate the kitchen and painted all my cabinets and stuff. And they look fab. They look so good. But that was quite a big job. And then we've got busy starting to decorate the living room, and we've got new flooring to put down in the living room, but that's still very much all going on in the background as well. And I think it's just, yeah, I don't know if anyone else gets this, but I just think being a human in this time when we've all got such full lives, busy lives, so many things going on, like it's challenging. And like for me, I do think that's perhaps one of the things, is that I just haven't got the headspace to like really tackle this. So what ends up happening is it comes out through the subconscious. So I just thought I'd mention that as a bit of a lesson learned. Anything else I'm trying to think of? So Instagram as well has been an interesting one. So I have had fits and starts with reels on Instagram. I haven't done a reel for ages. Again, I do want to get back into it, because I do tend to see the benefit in some ways when I am visible on Instagram. I always post on stories. I really enjoy stories, but I haven't done a reel for a while. So yes, I need to figure out everything I've got going on with that. But that is my behind the scenes look at what I've had going on this last quarter. I'd love to know if that's been helpful in some way, shape or form, me talking about this stuff. So I hope that's been helpful, guys. I hope that's given you something useful from all of my random stuff that I've had going on over the last few months. But yes, as always, I would love to know what your thoughts are. Please let me know. Pop me a DM on Instagram, I'm at wholeheartedlylaura, or leave me a review if you're listening to this on the podcast. Or if you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up and give me a comment below as well. I'd love to know what that quarter looked like for you, what you've had going on. Has September been a bit of an odd one for you as well? Or was it just me? Let me know. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being back for the rest of the year with some really good episodes. It just feels crazy how fast this year's going. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.